reason why men aren't committing is because, first of all, look at how we're representing ourselves. I mean, representing ourselves I could do 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. I can literally do that. Because when we see how we're representing ourselves, there's so many ways I can go about this, but the number one way that I see it is very much career driven. And career driven is not a negative thing. I am a woman that I got my advanced degree. I have a master's. I have a licensure. I work. I obviously, that I work. I have a active social media platform. Outside of social media platform, I'm a clinician by trade. I am a consultant for a nonprofit. I'm a full-time mommy. I'm also somebody's mama, right? So I have a lot of different hats that I wear. But when I was going to school, one of my primary things I wanted to do, I've told this story before, was that I wanted to get my LCSW. That was like my number one thing. And so because of that, I really didn't want to, I wasn't interested in getting married. I wasn't interested in, being a mom at that age. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't interested in that. I was really interested in going to school, get my degree, go get my career, and everything else will fall into place after that. I did not desire to be more than a career woman. I was raised, my mother was like, get your career, get your degree, get your career, get your degree. Because a lot of us, if you were raised like me, a lot of us were taught from our family that we need to go get our career, go get that degree, go get these things. And it's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have a career and to pursue things. But I think that it became more about like, oh, I don't want to be, what do I say? I don't want to be in a situation where if something was to go left in any relationship, you're taught that, oh, these men are faulty, so go get your career, because if something was to happen, you have something to fall back on. You have your out, you have your career. And so it almost made it so like, okay, last generation, maybe the marriages didn't work. Maybe the relationships, they didn't have the opportunities that we do now. They were not afforded the opportunities career-wise. And so the push was get a career. And I know I'm not the only one. Ladies, talk to me in the chat. Your mom was like, nah, get your career, get your coins, so that you're never so dependent on a man that you deal with broken behavior because you have to survive. Right? I'm seeing some hearts in the chat. It's real. What it has done on the other side, it has basically said, well, forget a man because men are faulty. Go get your career. Go get this. And so now I feel like overcorrected in the sense. I don't think it's wrong, ladies, to get your career. I don't think it's wrong for you to pursue, your degrees. I like I've said in past lives, I think that men love a woman. I haven't met a man. Can I be honest? I feel like because I have a master's, because I have a career, because they can see what I got going on outside of, whether they're attracted to me or not, that makes them, they put you in a more wifey category, to be honest with you. When you have a degree, I'm not gonna lie. Like when you have a degree and a career, it's like, okay, she got something going on. So I don't think it's a bad thing, right? I'm not saying that it's wrong. My problem with a lot of what we've seen, or a lot of what has happened, is overcorrecting to where forget a man completely. I'm just going to focus on my career. And so that's what the rhetoric has been. Forget a man. A man's not important. Forget this man. Forget this man. Forget this man. My money. I'm this. I'm that. 6 figures. And now we're doing all this. And now Now we are shaming men for not making as much of us because we've now become obsessed with this. And so we're like, oh, well, if you're making less than me, then you're not. Oh, well, if you're not doing this. And now we've now started shaming men and saying we don't need men because they don't financially, we're only looking for that aspect of things. Do you make more than me? When family, we forget the biggest thing. Marriage wasn't about just money and security. Family was about legacy, baby. And that's what we're forgetting about. God didn't look at Adam and say, hey, you need Eve because you need a second earner in the household. No, he said, it was not good for man to be alone. And so what has happened is it was not our purpose to come on this planet, get a degree and out earn men. That is not what we were here to do. We were here, Genesis, because of the fact God looked at man, it is not good for man to be alone. Let me create for him a helpmate. And they made it from his rib. Okay. So when the problem with a lot of ladies and a lot of what we see in today's society is it's out of order. And if we're being real, because I'm being honest with you, when you get into your career, I'm in my career now, right? I'm doing what I went to school to do. You do desire companionship. You were created for it. And what we do is we try to fill ourselves up with career. And we think that that's going to fulfill us. It doesn't. Just like with men, the opposite is true. Career will not fulfill you. You might be very successful career-wise. I have not met one successful man that doesn't desire a companion, a quality one, though. Some of them settle. Some of them settle with women that were there with them before they got the fame or they got the money. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But men, can I be honest with you? Your desires for what you want change. Your desires change. When you, as a man, when you 20, when you 19 and you in college, there's only a few women that you might have met this girl in college and she might have been that girl. She might have been that girl in college to you. Like you would have gave up the game for her. All right. Let's say in 5 years from there, you're 27 years old, 28 years old, your desires are going to change. Why? Why do you think your desires are going to change? Your desires are going to change because the price went up. The price went up. What does that mean? You have now earned more, so you are able to access different kind of women, and your desires change. So the women that was attractive when you was 19, yeah, it's great that she was down for you or whatever, but now you 28 or now you're 30 and you have different vision. Now you like, oh, you know what? I can kind of get that one. I always wanted that one. If I was going to get married, I would have married that. Because that right there is giving me something I want to go home to that. I want to wake up to that. I want to have kids with that. That is more of what I want. So we understand that when men, you do change. Things change over time. What was attractive at 19 changes when you're 30. Right? And so I do caution men at times, like to not, not saying don't settle, but don't settle, because I do feel like men settle. I do. I really do feel that way. I feel like a lot of men settle. They settle with somebody that they feel like they can trust is not ultimately what you desire. And then you end up feeling unfulfilled in a marriage. And that woman, and you stay in it because you don't want to be not married, but it's not ultimately who you would have wanted to be with if you could reshuffle the deck and be where you are today, choosing. Right? So men, I caution y'all about that. See, I'm seeing facts, true, all the things. Women absolutely settle too. We're going to get there. We're not there yet. That's why I do think it should be a God-led process, not a you-led process, because God knows who you'll be in 20 years from now. So he knows what's going to be attractive now, tomorrow, in 5 years from now, 10 years from now. That's why you have to let God lead you. He knows who you're going to be. So when you choose from your own wisdom today, you're actually choosing from a broken system. Okay. So anyway, back to my point. Women, in our career mindset, we have been taught or we have been conditioned to think now career, 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 career. So that when we're actually in a marriage, we feel like we're not receiving, we're not in our purpose, we're not in our calling, it's less than. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Your purpose when you were created by God was to be a helpmate. Your purpose was to replenish the earth. So when there's women that worked back then, didn't have a child, and they felt unfulfilled. Why? Because they understood their purpose, their role. In today's society, it's so backwards. We think that we don't have our, we're like, oh, we got the man and we got the kids, but we don't have the career. That wasn't what we were created to do. We were created to be a helpmate. So if you are blessed enough to have a man that you don't need to work like that for, thank the Lord for that. But no, we got women complaining about that. And that's because we have been taught that if we don't have a career, and I will tell you this, family, there is women that will make you feel bad about not working while you're with your man. I remember when I was married, when, I wanted my career, right? I still desire my career. I still feel like God has put me on this planet to do what I'm doing. However, I know things will have to change. God's already spoken to me about that when I get married again. But anyway, whole point is this. When I was not, and I was focusing on my family, there was women that would shame me because I wasn't working. Like, because I was only a mom. I was only a wife. And so that's why this is important, because you'll see women talk about, oh, I wanted the career, this, that, and the third, because there are women and there are people that will make you feel bad about the fact that you are not working a career. I'm sorry, family. That is why we have a problem. That is the number one issue, is how we're presenting this thing. We're presenting this thing like our purpose on this planet is to work. No, it's to achieve purpose. And your purpose may not be somebody else's purpose. But the number one thing God has called us to do is to be a helpmate. Not to be a career woman. Not to be clocking in and out of a job every day. That's not what God created us to do. That's not what he said in Genesis. That's what we've had to do because we've had to survive because of the fall of man. So number one reason is that because of what society is teaching us, how it is being presented to us, we feel like if we're not in our career, we're less than, or we're just like mooching off of the population because we're not in our career. And so now you're feeling less than and like you're not doing enough because you're comparing yourself to other women that are working and hustling and grinding and doing all these things. And you feel like you're missing out, or you feel like you're not doing enough, when in all actuality, when you are somebody's helpmate and your husband is doing big things, you're doing your work. But when we don't understand purpose, we now become more of a burden than a blessing. Because now I don't feel fulfilled as your wife. I don't feel fulfilled as the mother of your kids. So now I'm making you feel bad because I'm not working in my purpose, when in all actuality, I'm in my purpose. But the way that it's being presented is that if I'm not working, or if I'm not hustling, if I'm not in my career, I'm less than because I'm not a career woman. Sorry, baby, that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is we have to understand our role. Our role was not to be in our career. That doesn't mean you don't work, but that means was not your first priority. Your first priority was to be a helpmate. And that's what we don't understand. That's where we're getting it messed up. We're over here competing with our husbands because can I keep it real? We're being taught to be husbands and not wives. We're being taught to be husbands and not wives. We got to grind it out. We got to figure it out. We got to provide. Now you in competition with the man you're supposed to be helping. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Let's not just be every once in a while. Let's become family, okay? Friends that are family, okay? Join my family today.